Mumbai, the city of dreams. Mumbai, the city that never sleeps. Mumbai, the city of space crunches. Only Mumbaikars could understand the pain of being space deprived. However, Mumbai-based Newman Group has come up with an optimum solution to relieve the pain of Mumbaikars. And today in Let's Talk, I, Pooja Solanki, shall speak with Mr. Abhishek Kapoor, partner at Newman Group. Hello and welcome to the show, sir.
Hello.
Before we move ahead, could you decode Newman for us? We want to know its full form.
Newman is actually a company which started in early 90s, and the formation of the company was largely into real estate. Newman, if you know, means a group of syllables sung together, and New Mech came from there. And essentially, the way we look at it, it's like all the orchestra playing together in one direction. So that's what Newman is for us.
We actually want to know what N stands for, E stands for.
No, there is no Newman, as in it's not an abbreviation. It's Newman, which stands for essentially a group of syllables sung together.
Coming back to Mumbai and its space issue, how does it affect the group and you while you come up with the project?
Mumbai as such is a metropolitan city which has got limited land parcel available for development, and if you know, Mumbai is developing into a MMR region. However, the main city of Mumbai, which comes under the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, has limited land, and therefore a lot of redevelopment and slum rehabilitation projects are taking place, and that's our area of expertise, and that's what we focus on. For us, it's important. Mumbai is the market which we are focusing on, and all of the development that we are looking at doing is rehabilitation and redevelopment of existing either slums or old cessed buildings.
Could you tell us why did you specifically choose the areas of South Bombay?
South Bombay we chose because we believe that South Bombay has got a lot of potential. It's always been the center of the city in terms of the old central business district of Nariman Point, the new extended areas in Lower Parel. There's a lot of development that's happening in Bombay. So while all of this commercial supply is there in Bombay, the residential supply of the South Bombay has been limited because of limited availability of land parcels. And we believe there is huge demand in this market of the existing customers who are staying there, and also for the people who are starting to come to these offices and would require space to stay in. So from that perspective, we believe that South Bombay continues to remain the heart of the city, and it will continue to grow.
Talking about slum rehabilitation and redevelopment, what are the kind of challenges that you face?
Slum rehabilitation, redevelopment, essentially the policy is fantastic. The government has done a fantastic job of coming up with a framework to develop slum projects, essentially to make Mumbai slum free, and that's the endeavor which the government has taken. Now, given the policy background, it's fantastic framework. It has helped a lot of developers participate in helping Mumbai come out of the slums which have spread across the city. Having said that, the only part that is challenging and is an area of concern is the time taken by authorities to clear approvals, to give us clearances and go ahead with the development. I think that's leaving that apart. I think all the other aspects of the policy are very clear and fantastically put together.
So you don't face any legal issues like pertaining to land or...
lot of legal clearances, clarity is there in the policy itself, which is why it doesn't. And when you look at society redevelopment, really those are existing societies where the land either has been conveyed to the society or is to be conveyed to the society. So there again, there are no challenges. As far as slum is concerned, most of the slums are either on private land or government land. Again, the title of the land itself comes from the government, which is why again it's not really a big challenge. The policy, as I said, is very well defined, and that is enabling people to participate in development of Bombay and clearing Bombay of slums. The only challenge that remains is the time taken by bureaucracy in giving these clearances.
So how do you overcome it? And what are the strategies that you apply?
We have continuously voiced ourselves. There are certain challenges in terms of interdepartmental approvals. There are challenges in terms of how they have gone about linking various departments to seek approvals. Now that process sometimes takes time. So if they can simplify those processes and reduce the time taken for approvals, it will be fantastic. And from our perspective, what we have done is we have continuously voiced our opinion in various public forums with the government officials, and we pursue them like everybody else through forums like MCHI to make sure that the government is giving us sufficient attention to make sure that the process is fastened.
Sir, you have many redevelopment projects, and if you see, there are people who fear buying properties in redevelopment projects. So how do you convince people to buy or invest in a redevelopment project?
I think redevelopment and slum rehabilitation projects are some of the safest development projects in Bombay. I would divide this into two parts really. One part is in terms of title and in terms of assurance of delivery of project. So from that perspective, every project which comes under these policies are largely very, very clean and very easy to execute and have a lot of government support, because government ultimately wants to clear the slums. Government ultimately wants to redevelop these projects where people are staying in with very bad quality of life, because they're having issues and challenges in terms of the quality of living, the quality of daily issues and challenges that they face in terms of leakages, cracks, in terms of safety. Again, a big issue, because these are old dilapidated buildings. So from that perspective, these are safest because the government is putting the endeavor and they are providing us the policy framework to enable us to complete the development of the project. So from that perspective, it's the safest. In fact, safer than any other private development because of the support that the government extends to these projects. The second part is essentially, if you look at Bombay, most of the supply in Bombay will continue to come from slum rehabilitation and redevelopment of societies. This is because there is paucity of land in the city of Bombay. And so essentially most of the market is going to deliver supply from these kind of projects. And people have kind of come to terms with this changing dynamics of real estate and availability of supply in the market. And I think now it's no more a challenge really for the customers to buy.
That's quite convincing. I hope even you are convinced to buy a property in a redevelopment project. Time for a short break. We'll be back really soon. Welcome back. Before taking the break, we discussed how buying a property in a redevelopment project can be a good deal. Let's take this conversation forward. Sir, since Go Green is the norm these days, how would you assure green spaces to your buyers in the space-cramped Soho?
There are two aspects of Go Green. One is the development. Is it a green development? So are we looking at IGBC certified buildings, which is India Green Building Council? And whether we are doing the development as per the Green Building Council norms to achieve the certain ratings that they provide. The second aspect of it is whether we are actually doing green development in terms of planting trees, creating Raji spaces, so on and so forth. Essentially, again, coming back to the policy framework. The policy framework clearly defines the requirement of recreational areas in a building. And of course, adding to that, the environmental clearance is also providing opportunities, not just opportunity, but a framework for making a green city, whether it is in Bombay or any part of the country. So what we are doing is, while we are following these framework and of course doing green development in both these aspects, we are also looking at adding as many trees as possible, adding as much RGA and green space as possible in different areas of the project. So very simple measures which help in planning itself, in the planning, at the planning stage, very simple measures which help in making the project a green project in terms of creating a green environment, having large trees in the compound of the building, having green spaces, having garden spaces, open spaces within the project. Even though these projects are normally very constrained in terms of the availability of space, but we do our best in terms of planning as much green as possible in the project.
Sir, property prices in Mumbai are increasing by the day, even for that matter in Thane also. And according to a current trend, many people aren't buying homes, rather they prefer renting homes. In such a situation, how and why do you feel a project in South Bombay shall be a profitable venture for Newman?
See, real estate is an asset, and it's one of the biggest investments that any buyer makes, especially in a city like Bombay, whether in any part of the country, of course, but especially in Bombay, it's one of the biggest assets that any of the buyers own. And over time, if you look at real estate over over a lifetime of a person who invests in real estate, it always appreciates and gives fantastic return on investment. Now given that and also the psychology of the customer, that he would always want to stay in his own home and not look at relocating themselves every time the rental period gets over. Otherwise, you would have to relocate yourself every time your rent gets over, move into a new apartment, and everything unsettles. The whole social environment, your social network, your kids' school, the whole social environment of a customer gets affected when you relocate, when you're staying in a rental apartment. Therefore, absolute Indian psychology is that people would want to own their own homes. And of course, the fact that it provides for fantastic return on investment over life of an individual's investment is also adds to it, and they get an asset to inherit to their children and so on and so forth. So from both these perspectives, we don't see as demand going down. Now, having said that, even if you are taking apartments on rent, that apartment has been bought by somebody, right? So that apartment is an investment for somebody. So whether you look at it from the rental perspective or from a buy perspective, from both perspectives, the demand for housing in Mumbai is huge and the demand supply is huge. And therefore, we don't see it as a challenge in terms of rental, people preferring rental over purchase. I think that's a no-brainer. People would definitely, as soon as they can afford, will go in for purchase.
Another aspect of this ever-increasing prices is that many residential and commercial spaces are moving towards North Mumbai. How would you cope with this?
Like any other city in the world, Mumbai itself is grown over a period of time. It has spread throughout the city of Mumbai the way it is now. And like any other part of the world, the development has spread from the central business district of Nariman Point, going right up to Borivali or Dahisar in Bombay on the western side, and going up to Mulund, and then beyond Mulund, in fact, in Thane and Vashi and the other Mumbai metropolitan region areas. So having said that, it's a natural trend for any city to expand. So there is nothing new that's happening as far as the real estate is concerned or as far as the city is concerned. And given that the new supply that comes into the market normally comes in from suburban markets, which is what has happened. It's a natural course of development for a city, which is what has happened in Mumbai. So the way I see it, again, it's an opportunity for different affordability levels, for different size of units, different profile of customers to buy in different parts of the city. And again, for different profile of corporates, for different profile of end users who are looking at office space in different parts of the city. So people who are linked to the financial markets are either in Bandra Kurla complex or either in Nariman Point area, because of various institutions being here, banks being here, corporate houses being here, so on and so forth. So from our perspective, the way we see it, the development of the city has run its natural course, and it's going to continue in the same way. Of course, South Bombay is going to remain South Bombay and it's going to continue as it is, and there's going to be a lot of redevelopment opportunities that are going to come our way in South Bombay.
Okay. Housing for all by 2022. Do you think it's achievable?
Again, I think there are two parts to housing for all. Essentially, if the government gives, which I think is going to happen, which is what this new government is trying to do for us, is giving a lot of clearances at a much faster pace and taking quick decisions providing clear policy guidelines towards achieving each of those goals that they are setting out for themselves, and that will help the private sector to contribute towards achieving the goal that the government is setting. So from the perspective of government, I think there are a lot of clear mandates that are going on, whether it is in the form of policy guidelines or whether it is in the form of decision making, that will help achieve this goal. The other part, which I think is again a challenge and needs to be addressed, is the PILs that get filed. For these delay the project, these delay the guidelines, the effectiveness of the guidelines and the clarifications of the guidelines, and I think that's an area of concern that needs to be addressed, because these are frivolous PILs which create challenges both for the government and the private sector who's going towards doing the development of the projects. But it is definitely, to answer your question, I think it's a possibility if the government continues to give these three things, which is quick decisions, clear guidelines, and of course taking care of these frivolous PILs.
That was quite informative. I hope the government is listening this. Time for another short break. We'll be back really soon. Welcome back. Now the time has come that we talk about luxury and affordability. Abhishek sir, tell us, at Newman Group, how do you bridge the gap between luxury and affordability, or for that matter, budget segment?
For us, the strategy and the approach that we have taken as a company is to provide housing within certain ticket size and budgets. Now there are two aspects to this particular strategy. One is efficiently designed homes which provide you all the requirements and expectations that you have as an end user, and in the project itself you're providing for all the amenities that you would actually essentially require in terms of having a good quality of life. Okay. Now we here are not chasing luxurious apartments, we are not chasing 3,000, 5,000 square foot apartments, which is what a lot of real estate developers are doing. We position ourselves as value for money brand. We position ourselves as a brand which provides you all the essentials to live a high quality of life and at affordable ticket size. Now that effectively means that we would probably land up coming up with the largest supply of 1, 2, 2.5, 3 BHK apartments in the city of Bombay, whereas everybody else is again within a certain size, not luxurious. So for us, while luxury for a lot of people means, you know, branding it with a X brand or a Y brand, for us luxury is essentially having a good quality of life and being able to afford that good quality of life at your preferred location. So any market, wherever we are coming up with the supply, wherever we are coming up with projects, and we are coming up with everything from South Bombay right up to Dahisar, from South Bombay again right up to Mulund, and so on and so forth. So we are doing projects across the city, and we are coming up with supply which will make sure that anybody and everybody who has a preferred location can try and reach the afford a home within and have a reach to their own home in that market.
That sounds great. Now let us talk about the face of Newman Group. Abhishek sir, could you tell us about your journey at the Newman Group till now?
I have known the group for last more than 2 years. Okay. And I've been in the business for over 14 years. Okay. And worked in various capacities in various organizations. It's been a fantastic journey with them, and as a group I think there is a huge amount of potential to contribute to real estate industry in Bombay in terms of, and also to support the government in implementing its development plan of the city of Bombay, because I think there are a lot of developers in the market who are helping the government to eventually provide for all the open spaces, provide for the large roads, provide for the gardens that are required very much for effective implementation of the development plan of Bombay. So I think Mech is again a player which can add a lot of value, because we are doing a lot of slum rehabilitation redevelopment projects, and that will enable us to contribute towards that goal.
So you mentioned that you have worked in different capacities. You've been an employee to many real estate firms. Now, today, you are a partner at Newman Group. How life has been so far?
It's been extremely exciting. I think management and ownership are two very different perspectives to a business.
Exactly.
And I'm kind of being on both sides. But forever, I have always worked as if the business is my own. I've never worked, as an employee in my head. I've never worked as somebody who's just doing a job from morning 10 to evening 6, on a job. So I've always worked as if this was the assignment that I was handling or I am handling is my own assignment, it's my own company. Having said that, objectivity of decision making is the most important criteria, in which capacity you're taking that decision and how are you approaching that decision is what changes when you look at life from a management perspective and a shareholding perspective. So these are two different perspectives, but it's been a very interesting, very exciting, very learning experience so far.
Sir, you have mentioned you have spent 14 years in the real estate industry. What are the challenges that you have come across and how did you overcome it?
I think when I started in the industry, my family said, "What are you joining? This industry is absolutely unorganized industry, and there are a whole lot of malpractices in this industry," which is the truth. About 20-25 years back, the industry was very immature, very unorganized, and today, if you look at the industry, it's metamorphosed into a completely organized industry to a very large extent. You have professionals joining the industry, you have management graduates joining the industry, and as such, with foreign direct investments opening up and with the listing happening, the transparency levels going up, both because of the government policies and also because of the way the funding is done of the projects, the demands from the consumers, from all across different stakeholders in the real estate industry, there has been a major transition and it's become organized. And I think that's been a process and learning for all of us who've been in the industry. And I think that's an opportunity.
So do you suggest a career in real estate?
Absolutely do. I think it's a growing industry like this. There's a long way to go. This country really needs to build a whole lot of housing, whole lot of real estate to be able to cater to the demand that is coming up with the huge population that is coming up, which is a very young population right now, which is what India is going to gain from, and that demand is going to take this industry to a whole new level. And I think professionals and management graduates and postgraduates are most welcome to join the industry and enjoy the ride.
It seems working in the real estate industry is really a great option for anyone's career. Sir, you have so much of experience in the real estate industry, and citing your experience, our viewers are curious for your words of wisdom. Could you enlighten them?
I think real estate is like owning one of the best assets available in the world, and if you look at any large investor, any wealthy individual across the world, one of the biggest share of their investment and asset base lies in real estate. And if everybody is looking at real estate as an investment, then why not you, and why won't you buy, and why won't you participate in it being one of your largest part of your asset base? So I think real estate is something which generates good returns, good inheritance value for your future generation, and I think one should continue to invest.
Speaking with you was an awe-inspiring experience, Mr. Kapoor. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you.
With new Mech, your sober dream is about to come true. We shall be back with another episode of Let's Talk with a different personality of the ever-shining real estate industry. Till then, goodbye, take care, and keep watching Spin TV.